When do we talk about the fucking shows and movies? Thanks for the F shot.
I don't know, but his arm got chewed up.
Show me what you got!
We'll drink it if you say.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Wasted Opinions. We're going to be talking about some movies that exist in the pantheon of all the movies. Some of these are movies that kind of change the scope of movies to come afterwards. So these are kind of like cinema changers, is what we're calling it. Kind of like our game changers that we did back a couple of episodes ago, where we talked about video games that kind of changed the way that the trajectory of how games were being made.
Is that up yet?
I don't know. Maybe this one in before it. I don't know.
No, we'll get it up before.
Well, that one is up. Didn't you just produce that one?
We watched it. It's up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you literally just made that one, didn't you?
Did we? I can't remember.
It's just up.
Wow. All right. So one thing they do in movies is editing. So that's something that maybe we could do here, or not. We're going to be raw. But before we get into the movies that we're going to be talking about that changed the history of movies, we'll introduce ourselves. To the far right, I have...
You got MussKeg. I'm basically Hollywood incarnate.
And to my immediate right...
Like one of those crazy ass wooden Australian frisbees, I always come back. I'm LewisLightning.
And that John Denver was full of shit. I'm CountryBoy. So yeah, anyways, we'll do a shot here before we get going. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And so yeah, I hope it's kind of explanatory, self-explanatory that these are movies that kind of stand out as they influence other movies to come afterwards, or maybe this is such a different movie that's never been done before that it's really changed the trajectory of how Hollywood or how movies have come afterwards. So,
Okay.
I don't know if you guys want to start, if you guys are interested, if you want me to go.
No, you can have the floor, I guess.
I'll go first.
I'm confident enough.
Okay, well, I didn't expect to go first, so I'll start with, this is probably it's a big blockbuster movie that I think was one of the first, had lots of destruction and stuff going on. I think it's Independence Day. It came out in the 90s, I think 1994, 96. Can't remember what year it was.
95, I thought it was.
Maybe 95, maybe right in the middle there. But yeah, it's a movie that I remember as being a big blockbuster movie. Everybody was talking about that year because it had so much destruction. Like, they didn't do this in movies, at least not to this scale, with the miniatures that they made, and they just blew them up, and they did this with so many scenes in the movie, and it looked really cool. It did an awesome job of it. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the director himself because he's done a lot of movies since that are very similar. Like, he doesn't humanize.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the guy that I don't know.
You caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to go right away.
It wasn't Wolfgang Peterson, right?
He does a whole bunch of movies. He did 2012. He did The Day After Tomorrow.
That's Wolfgang Peterson.
No.
Let him look it up.
It's not.
Yeah.
But anyways, but what I do love about his movies is these just big ultimate destruction, and it's like the end of the world is always happening. The human characters are always kind of like one level. There's not much going on on the human side, but that's not why you watch these movies. You watch them for these big scale, just explosions.
But the drunk trailer park guy, like, he had a little bit of a character.
Yeah, sure.
Roland Emmerich, by the way. Roland Emmerich.
Yes.
And it was 96, yeah.
Okay.
He did Godzilla, wasn't that him as well?
Yeah, the 97? 97?
It was like, and it's one of those true blockbusters too.
It was. I'd say it changed the scope of cinema because just of the destruction that it did, the level of destruction.
And let's throw another little bit. I mean, this was happening, it's starting to happen now, but black male lead.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You didn't see a lot of that.
Yeah, true.
Will
Smith was.
Yeah. That was his first kind of like.
Did that director do the
before Men in Black?
Do the sequel?
No, I don't think he did. He might have been a producer on.
It was terrible. I didn't want to watch it.
You know what? I prefer it. I prefer the sequel. Resurgence, I believe it was called. Yeah.
But you're not a fan of Jeff Goldblum, so.
I love Jeff Goldblum. Jurassic Park.
Okay. So I'll go next, and I'll just follow up on the whole destruction kind of thing. Because when you started talking, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna fucking come under me. I'm gonna go with Godzilla. He kind of had that, but I'm gonna go specifically with Godzilla. I think it's Raids Again, the second one where he fights Anguirus. That's kind of the start of big monster versus big monster kind of movies.
Oh, okay.
Where they had that. That was something that came out of nowhere before there wasn't anything like that. Like, because I was going to say big monsters originally with the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
But King Kong was there. I mean, he didn't really destroy a whole lot.
Yeah, he didn't destroy it. He wasn't nearly as big.
Well, I know. But I was like, at least Godzilla stands out specifically for monster versus monster once you start bringing in other stuff.
Kaiju versus kaiju.
Yeah, so that was like a
Big
huge
monsters.
thing. Even like in the modern day when you get to Pacific Rim, which it's robots versus kaiju. But, I mean, Power Rangers, the whole series built off that.
Oh,
too,
absolutely.
Like monster versus monster.
They definitely owe their
They definitely got a lot of use out of that small, like people in costumes in small worlds to make it look like.
And that's basically what modern day King Kong became.
Mm-hmm.
You got stuff like Gamera, which is like knockoff. I'm trying to think what other big monster movies there are now, but like that I think is the start of
it.
it.
Was like Ultraman,
Ultraman was a I don't know if it's movies, but he was definitely a TV series, I think.
Or maybe it was a comic series or something too. I can't remember. I know he was also like a big dude.
He was like a superhero though. He'd be like a regular guy that could get big. I don't know if he's human or not. Japanese.
I don't know.
Transformers too.
Yeah, Transformers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was their whole thing and started from there. So I think that changed how we view cinemas nowadays.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Nice.
I love that one.
Okay, I'm gonna go with one that was a truly a unique experience when I went and saw this in theaters the first time. I saw it twice in theaters just because it was so unique. Billion movie Avatar, the very first Avatar when it came out. I'd seen 3D before. People had tried doing 3D and it just didn't work. It was movies that were shot to be regular movies that they put a 3D filter on to make it look 3D, and that still happened quite a while after Avatar 2. Avatar was the first movie I saw where it was done with the idea of it being 3D in mind. And I'll just never forget the very beginning when there's droplets of water right in front of your face.
When he's like coming out of his like pod or whatever, he's floating, and you're like, I remember that too. I saw it in 3D. Well, whatever you think about the movie, I think that was fantastic. It was probably the best 3D still to this day that I remember.
It was truly a technological revelation for it, so that it sticks out for me specifically for that.
Or I mean, another part, like even when he like was in his avatar body for the first time, and he's like looking at things in first person, you're like as a person in this
the breathing,
theater,
because he's in the.
It's like, oh, this is really cool. Like if I can see the 3D effect of everything, it was really well done. Yeah, James Cameron did a good job for sure. And then I'll go for probably the first CGI movie to ever be in theaters, Toy Story.
Damn it.
Oh, really? Sorry, guys. Toy Story. And it still stands to this day as probably one of the best animated, like CG animated movies to this day. People still love that. And every movie after that has been awesome too. But it was the first one to really break ground and be the first like CG. I know like Disney was really on the fence about allowing Pixar to do this because they've never done this before. They've only ever done pencil drawings and coloring and whatnot. So it was
fantastic concept
challenge
to enter into it too.
Yeah.
Like
I think maybe you can add on to this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like Toy Story, it wasn't the first to try and make a whole CG movie that way, but it's definitely the one that caught on with the mainstream. That's adults and stuff would be like, yeah, this is actually something I could sit down and watch.
It's definitely the first one into like mainstream, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was any more before that. I know there were other movies that had CG in it. Like, I know even like Aladdin had. I know like Beauty and the Beast had CG in it, but they weren't like full CG rendered movies.
Little Mermaid's the first one that Disney actually had, where there's like a staircase they show, and it's just the staircase. The only thing in the whole movie that's CG.
Like I know even like their tag for the movie was like, no, we didn't use a pencil for any of this movie. Something.
Oh, okay.
What it said, because it was straight from the computer.
I'm trying to think what CG movie came out, because I'm pretty sure there is something before, but it wouldn't have had that, the weight of changing the industry like Toy Story did.
Yeah.
Well, I started thinking about like CGI, and I'm like, like Finding Nemo, but then I'm like, wait, no, Toy Story came out way before Finding Nemo. So that's a good one.
I'm gonna go with one here that more modern. I think Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, really changed how we handle music in movies now. Like now I remember when I watched that movie, the first thing I did was I left the theater, came back, got another ticket and watched it again. But after that, then I went to HMV next door.
You saw it twice that day?
Yeah, same day.
Oh, that's crazy.
One after the other. But then I went to HMV.
She just stayed in the theater.
I went to HMV and I bought the soundtrack. Because then they said that was the best-selling soundtrack, one of the best-selling soundtracks for the year. but it was all made of previously released music,
Yeah.
kind of put into a compilation for a music soundtrack. And now you see that everywhere. Like the Suicide Squad did that. Like all the modern kind of, I don't want to say super.
That's also James Gunn again too.
Yeah, but he didn't really do it like Slither and other stuff. Like,
No, he didn't.
but like, I mean, I think other guys do it. I'm sure there's other movies out there now that they just focus on the.
There are definitely
There are
R&B
ones
movies
before
out
that too, like Garden State, not same scope, but that was an entirely.
No, and there are definitely
soundtrack.
movies out there that have amazing soundtracks. Like I'll even say like Forrest Gump. Look at that soundtrack. It's an amazing soundtrack.
But it's not just.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not the same level as what you're talking
Well, I was
about.
gonna say it was kind of like. Well, I guess Suicide Squad's not like that. But I was gonna say like it was always like a part of the movie. Like it wasn't just like you're watching an action scene and this stuff happens. When Yondu in the second one is killing everyone in that prison, he turns on the PA system and that music starts playing.
That's the second movie.
Yeah, I know. Well, the first one does it too. Like when he hits that guard who's in the prison, the guard's listening to.
It all goes back to his cassette tape.
There is a word for it, and I just watched a video where they talk about it. It's like something with a D word. It's like that ethereal soundtrack, where it's like the guys in this movie are listening to that music too. It's not just you as an audience.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
But
what
yeah.
you mean. Yeah.
But I think that was something that they changed there. Like it definitely became, if it was around before, it definitely became a point that every movie from now on has got to do, at least within that genre.
There's definitely been copycats. Yeah, I'd say after that.
Whew. Well, I'm gonna go with one that actually recently came out that maybe I'm jumping the gun on calling it a cinema changer,
Oh, I bet I know.
but
what
I
it is.
think this movie opened the ground for things to be changing. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, figured.
I don't even know how to describe it.
I think I almost put it on my list too. Actually, I almost had it on there.
It's like 100 different movies in one, essentially at the same time, but all going at the same time.
I know the reason why I would put it on mine is because they didn't have a big budget, and the things they were able to do in this movie, you would think that they had like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Very
But-
practical.
Yeah,
movies
it's
and
a
things,
practical
yeah.
effects, and I love practical effects in
Yeah.
movies. And this movie is mostly practical effects.
Yeah.
It's awesome, which I love.
The
Which,
editing style was huge, and it was two music video guys. So
Yeah.
I think it's really
exactly. Turned down for what?
I think it's allowing cinema to become a lot more exploratory than it was before, and people are much more open to non-traditional. What's a quality movie, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a really good one.
That is a really good one. I just about put it on my list. Just about. So the last one I'm gonna go with.
Excuse me.
You know what? It's not even on my list here, but I want to say it because it really is. I'm gonna say Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And it's for a couple different reasons. The way that it blended live action and animated characters was seamless. It was awesome. Plus, the way that they were able to get other studios together to work into one movie, like you don't really see that anymore nowadays. Like you might see it in like the Ready Player One movie where all the different video game and
Chip and Dale thing?
Chip and Dale's similar idea, exactly. They have had a few movies since then where they brought in all these different types of studios, but you're not going to see Warner Brothers mixed with Disney, mixed with whoever the hell Betty Boop was from. You're not going to see that ever again, probably.
Metro Golden Wire.
Yeah, MGM. You're not going to see that ever again, and I think it was a game changer. I really wish they would go back and do like a sequel to that. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
So they did. It's a Chip and Dale movie.
And it's good, but it's not nearly on the level. It's not nearly.
So
on
I
the
was
level.
thinking of that honestly, but there's like I agree on the point of it being where two big companies came together. Like the only thing that could happen in the modern day that I would see it like that would be like Marvel DC crossing over.
If they could do that, then it would be like the same idea.
But on the note of animation meets live action, like what about Mary Poppins or Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
That did happen.
But I don't know if they had that effect.
That's why I'm
in
going
cinema.
more to the studio clashing or mixing.
Pete's Dragon? Was that Pete's Dragon also on?
Yeah, Pete's Dragon was.
yeah.
No, there definitely was, absolutely. But it wasn't to that exact same level, I guess. The whole movie was like this, whereas those were like just little portions of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were also probably even like
Cool World.
Cool came afterwards, but yeah. I mean, there were probably like music videos that came up before that even had that too. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I'm probably focusing more on the actual studio amalgam that I would say is what was really cool.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had this in my head. I'm just forgetting it now. My last pick. Oh, got it. I was gonna say. So this is kind of like a little bit personal to me. My grandmother is just totally into Hollywood movies all the time, and she's a very Western woman. She loves Western movies. Like, I've seen so many of them. And what really changed the Western genre was the spaghetti Western, which was the Fistful of Dollars trilogy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them all, but like before that, they were just like very tame.
Yeah.
Like
John Wayne was
John
always
Wayne.
like the superhero.
Yeah.
He was
untouchable,
always
super good guy.
You knew he was gonna always win.
morally pure, always
Yeah.
good ending.
Yeah.
But like Fistful of Dollars and
Always a love interest too, usually.
Yeah, exactly.
but like Clint Eastwood's character, like he's kind of a shifty guy sometimes.
You don't know, where he's coming from.
And
Really.
he's, he'll kill a guy even though you
Very
think that's not-
anti-hero.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
anti-hero.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. Even you could say like the soundtracks, Sergio Leone,
Yeah.
like how that made Western music from that point on.
I still love the Ecstasy of Gold. Might be one of my favorite composition songs.
And like, I'm not a big fan. Like, I watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I was like, it's not as good as the hype made it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say that it did change compared to all those other movies I watched all that time. I was like, this is completely different, night and day different.
Absolutely, can't deny it.
I'm gonna go. It was suggested to me, but I'd actually had it in my mind before. A little bit of a personal one. The American Pie movie. Now, when people think cinema change or what,
No,
it really reintroduced that.
Putting your dick in a pie.
Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for?
the raunchy comedy.
Raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
Raunchy comedy has kind of gone away. You had some in the 80s, like Porky's and everything like that.
Nerds,
Nerds, Animal House.
Animal House and everything.
Yeah.
But there's very few and far between. And my opinion is, when American Pie came out, it kind of started the trend of a great, honestly, the early 99 to like late 2000s were a great period for raunchy comedies. And great time for us because we were growing up.
Yeah, that was our age range too.
You know, it
so
led
I was
out,
looking
it
at
led,
young
you know,
kids.
It led,
or young,
American Pie came
older
out, the
teenagers.
second one came out, and then, you know, then all of a sudden there's Old School, and there's
Even
Superbad,
Road Trip,
so Road Trip,
Euro Trip,
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
So for what it did, for what it helped reestablish and bring back, I really appreciate it.
I feel like if we didn't have American Pie, we might not have had like the Hangover series even afterwards
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like definitely graduated to a more serious and I think probably better level of movie, but I agree 100%.
And for raunchy comedies,
established it.
like all of them were good, to be honest. Not including the.
I can't say they're all good. I can't say they're all good.
I liked all four of them, but.
Also, all the American Pie.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the
Okay.
American Pie. Like, sorry.
Yeah, not the spin, the straight to
direct
DVD ones.
DVDs, no.
Yeah, Bad Camp and
In fact, I'm proud to say I never watched one of the
Naked
straight
Mile.
TV ones, no.
Yeah,
For me, I just have this connection in my head, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But like, I feel like it also led to like not another teen movie, scary movie. Did that?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so.
Because it's really raunchy stuff too, even though it might be like
It's coined the term MILF.
It absolutely did. Yeah, MILF didn't exist until American Pie.
Yeah, so.
We have time for.
If you want to do one more honorable mention,
Honorable mentions, yeah.
If we have one, sure, I'll toss in one more too. So one that was on my list would be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just the way that animation was done, they did kind of, it was almost, it wasn't selling, it was almost like a comic book, because you can see like the dots like the comic book has on the characters, but then they also brought in characters from other worlds with like the Spider-Man Noir, which is just black and white, and then there was also like the anime character, and then even more so in the new Spider-Man movie when they went to like a whole bunch of other worlds. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there are other worlds they go to, and it's even crazier. But like without that, they wouldn't have Mitchell's versus the Machines. They wouldn't. I mean, the Lego movie was before this, but it's very similar in this way. And I'll say even like the Puss in Boots movie that came out afterwards, very similar. And the new TMNT Mutant Mayhem movie wouldn't. These movies wouldn't exist in their form if it wasn't for Into the Spider-Verse.
Good pick. Very Everything Everywhere All at Once too, and how it was done in a sense. Too.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna pick something I thought would have been said. The Matrix. Like I feel like it.
That's a fucking.
It created this questioning reality kind of genre in
and the
general.
fighting style too.
Well, that's one aspect, but like the questioning reality, because after that you got like R.I.P.D., Men in Black, where it's always like there was a whole other world that you didn't know about.
Men in Black came before.
Was it before?
Yeah.
It was either before or the same year. Yeah, it was.
It was like 97.
Yeah, I think Men in Black was 97. I think 98 was Matrix.
99 was like I'm pretty sure Matrix. But anyway,
we'll find out.
I was kind of thinking of like that because of the trope.
100%.
It's a trope though, like Will Smith's character, he's an outsider, doesn't know anything. Same thing with Ryan Reynolds' character in R.I.P.D. Same thing with Neo. Like they have no idea. They bring this guy in, and they're like the chosen ones. That
and I'm thinking of like Matrix in more of like a technical aspect.
Yeah,
like the slow-mo camera and like the physical fighting that they do.
Different fighting style, mixing like kung fu and guns.
Like, there was definitely copycats after that.
I want to also say that Back to the Future, I think that did time travel in a way that no one else had done before.
Yeah.
Like time travel stories are old as time, but it didn't really catch on to Hollywood until Back to the Future did. Like how it was manipulating your current reality, the present reality and stuff. I think that.
Well, I mean, any time travel movie after that always references Back to the Future.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So, yeah, in a way, yeah.
Well, it also created the whole concept of like how does time travel? Is it like an immediate thing, like what you do,
a linear,
or do you create a branching path? That's all Back to the Future stuff, like you said that they reference in Infinity War and stuff.
Even the most recent movie, The Flash, references it.
And I'll go with just an honorable mention: The Sixth Sense. Really introduced that concept of the twist ending.
Yes.
Twists happened before, but they happened a lot more after Sixth Sense.
Totally.
To the point where sometimes when you're watching a movie, you're looking for the twist.
Yeah, exactly. You're almost disappointed sometimes when you're thinking that there's going to be a twist in this movie. You're like, oh, it was just a straightforward movie. Sure.
Was that Shyamalan's?
It's his first.
Was it Unbreakable before?
No.
Unbreakable came after. Yeah, it was the second one.
But I don't know if he'd made movies before.
Well, I mean, the first one that we are aware of.
Mainstream that we know.
Mainstream. I think he has had smaller ones. But yeah,
he really knocked it out of the park on that first one.
Absolutely, that was, that's a great picks, guys. So that's gonna do it for our cinema changers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Where can we find everybody on the far right there?
Twitch, Twitter, PSN, MussKeg, where I change everything.
What does that mean?
I'm a Twitch changer.
He's a MussKeg changer.
Yeah.
Cinema changer.
I'm the LewisLightning on Twitch. You can catch me playing the best games out there.
And I'm CountryBoy_9. On Twitch, Twitter, PSN, and on YouTube where I open up stuff like this. This Shredder mixed with Power Rangers. What?
Game changer.
That's crazy.
Shredder Rangers.
Crazy. Check it out, guys. It's there. So that's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.